Okay, so welcome everybody. My name is Shamini Dana. I'm the founder and CEO of Dana Inc. and also Dana D-Sphere. Today is April the 13th, 2022. Welcome to our D-Sphere webinar series. Today we are going to be tackling a very important issue as it relates to climate change and social justice. But as always, we set the context and give you an overview of D-Sphere itself before we get into the actual crux of the topic. Kindly note that this is a recording. It will be shared to all the registered users. We request you to please stay mute until the end, and we'll be taking questions and answers. So do use the chat button to send in your questions, and we're hoping that it'll be a lively discussion. So let's get started. So today we have a new fashion technology platform that we've unveiled to the fashion industry and to the people of the world, because we all wear clothes. And it's called D-Sphere. And D-Sphere is all about recreating fashion. We're actually unlocking creativity through personalization of fashion using second life materials and clothing. And so the question we are always asked is, why do we exist? Dana Inc. is actually the parent company. We've been around since 2008, a sustainable, ethical brand based here, headquartered in Sausalito, California, in the San Francisco Bay Area. And for the last decade or so, we have traveled the world of sustainability from all the way to production, launching collections in the youth arena between 0 and 16 years. And then in 2017, we pivoted towards circularity, and then thereby looking at technology to enhance our circular proposition. Now, what we found was we realized that everybody wears clothes, but more importantly, everybody actually is seeking creative expression in our world. And we seek these creative expressions through various different mediums. So why not fashion, right? If we can actually inject this creativity into fashion, then we can actually start looking at personalization of fashion. And that's what D-Sphere was about. We decided that in order to take circularity to the next level and tackle global textile waste that is predominantly our biggest issue in the fashion industry, we can use the two and bring them together with technology. And that gave birth to D-Sphere. And so we believe that D-Sphere, it can create fashion by empowering people to design new fashion with existing fabric and fashion. So if you step back and you look at D-Sphere, D stands for digital fashion in the digital economy, and sphere is actually symbolism of equality and equity in the shared digital world. Now, when we did launch softly in November 2021, we offered this platform with a registered only, invite only mechanism. But this month being Earth Day, we're unleashing it with no login. So you can do so, thereby propelling a whole movement. Now, D-Sphere platform is built on core pillars, and they are the following. Number one, we want to empower customers to be the solution to climate change. So they actually will take action. They will actually be the ones using their energy, their dollars, and their voting rights to reduce carbon footprint, the environmental footprint. This is what we believe in. One of our other core pillars is that there is a huge discrepancy in the world today. It's one of the number one requests that customers would like to know who make their clothes. And so we're really closing the last mile, that loop, and giving transparency, showing that you are able to pay it forward as a customer, and we're connecting you to the garment worker. Thirdly, the Creative Platform provides customers digital tools so that they can actually play in the metaverse and inject their creativity. And then the last two would be using fashion as a medium of storytelling, thereby democratizing fashion so that it becomes a more shared economy. And so customers themselves can really be their brand persona. And so the future of DSphere is all about enhancing a creative platform and enhancing a creative experience whereby people can design, impact, and celebrate fashion. So DSphere, as we look at the sustainability development goals, we want to keep in mind that one piece of clothing can have an infinite number of creative expressions, right? So we are actually empowering all of humanity to tackle waste and also be able to use a single template, but design it in so many different ways. This is the power of technology. One design, a million possibilities on our platform. For every design and template that we offer to our customers to co-create with us, we've also demonstrated through life cycle assessments for each of these products, and thereby giving the customer an environmental footprint for their work. So these are two of our products that you'll see that you can co-create on the DSphere platform. On the right is our circular fashion tee, and on our left is actually the circular memory jacket. These are our initial two products. We will be co-creating with brands and customers to develop other products like shirts and hoodies and dresses, as long as you want to play in the DSphere platform. What we've also done is translate the carbon, energy, and water into savings so that people can actually understand how much of their impact is. So for instance, the circular fashion tee, a regular t-shirt, if you were to produce it from virgin, it takes about 700 gallons of water. So understanding that there's no chemical intervention in any of our products. It's really a cut, sew, and stitch. So we're repurposing material or finished goods. You can see the savings here demonstrated in carbon, energy, and water by the driving glasses of water as well as lights. So this keeps on going on, and you can imagine that being tied to the SDGs, which we will actually be looking at. So let's get into the actual impact of fashion on social development goals. Most of you on this call already know what an SDG is. There are about 17 of them in the world that are all interlinked, all sort of a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. Before I start, I'd like to also say that Dana Inc. is a certified B corporation. And so we've just actually completed our third recertification in January 2022. We have been awarded Best for the World 5 years running from 2016. And we really are committed to empowering people and planet through customer engagement. So of the 17 goals, Dana Inc. is taking on 9 of them, right? Using our platform, the processes we use, how we actually interact, and as well as collaborate with our partners and all stakeholders. So let's get into it. How do we do this? So if you were to look at the DSphere platform, which is now our proprietary tech platform, we actually in service to humanity and the planet itself. One touch point, one action by a customer when they co-create with us has the ability to impact the earth, from savings on water, energy, and carbon emissions over here, to tackling global textile waste, right, to becoming the solution to climate change, We're also utilizing second life material to be upcycled into new clothing. Now, when it comes to the humanitarian part, we're actually creating digital designs, which then will be transformed into NFTs. So we do this on OpenSea. We're giving you the power of creativity to be placed into wearables, which are actually your upcycled t-shirt. We allow you to get access to who makes your clothes by connecting you to the garment worker, right? You have the right to now, on our Gsphere platform through our stories module, to actually use fashion as a medium of storytelling. Now, you could be a customer, you could be a stakeholder, you could be a garment worker. You could actually just talk about how you are being treated, right? You are also going to be able to pay it forward, share your memories. All this is all about storytelling. Creating your own fashion brand using our platform. So we're empowering you. So what we are doing is democratizing fashion and giving the marginalized communities, any kind of community around the world now, to become their own fashion brand on our platform. And of course, it's sharing gratitude now that you know who makes your clothes. This is one of the most powerful things that we believe this can happen. And it's all about personalization of fashion, because you are your own unique person, right? And we do believe that given the opportunity to co-create with us, you can extend that personality into the clothing you wear, the values, who you are. And so the first sustainable development goal is number 3, which is good health and well-being. So as a company, a certified B Corp, we truly believe that the workers have to be in a safe working environment, right? We are not exposed to any of the traditional fashion chemicals or pesticides or dyes or chemical finishes. Why? Because we're not in the game or the arena of actually producing from virgin, right? We're all about tackling the waste currently. So we don't actually embed ourselves in this sort of predicament. And it's also part of promoting health and healthy living. Now, healthy living for us and well-being is for all ages. And we also do believe that it is about giving the opportunity to tackle not just physical, but mental and social well-being. So Dana has a huge advocacy work being done with respect to empowering our teams to work remotely, collaborate globally, and also taking time to really feel the joy, the passion they have by volunteering for social issues and climate change activities. About 2 years ago, we were approached by the first responders to produce masks for them. So to create, and what we did was use our scraps and made these materials for first responders and ultimately customers. So we are huge advocates for good health and well-being. In terms of gender equality, SDG number 5, Dana is primarily a woman-led company, and we employ women from all sorts of different diverse backgrounds. We do not discriminate on gender, and we encourage women to be in leadership positions, to give them a voice at the table, to stand up, to say what they want to seek out, to change in the world. And we make that opportunity available, right? We're also committed to closing the gap between men and women in the workplace when it comes to being the force for good. It's really part of our ethos and our value system. SDG number 8, which is about decent work and economic growth. Now, this is a huge effort in terms of being inclusive, right? And we really are about committing ourselves to ethical, fair trade, and sustainability standards as part of being a certified B Corp. So as we started Dana, we are fair trade certified brand. We've received, the Green Award by Green America, actually a gold standard. So there are a lot of things that we can tout as what we're doing to give work, not only when we used to be part of a sourcing in India back then, it was a fair trade factory, but we continue to do so here. Number 9, SDG, industry innovation in infrastructure. This is to build a resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. So, as you know, we started in 2008, but we pivoted to becoming a fashion technology company. And so we believe that innovation is the right for every woman to lift herself up. And we do so by empowering women, not only just on our teams, but let's face it, we're giving the opportunity for women and others on our platform now to innovate using technology, right? So we are investing in new tools, in artificial intelligence, in machine learning, software, 3D, and we're giving them solutions and training so they can actually access this and really become leaders for the future. So I'm a big believer in providing training for our teams and also to take the next step on the career path, right? So we provide a lot of opportunities for women in R&D as well to enhance the experience in the fashion industry and beyond, which is also the metaverse. Number 10, SDG to reduce inequality. So many of you do know that the fashion industry here in the United States of America is one that has outsourced roughly over 90% or 95% of our production all over the world to developing countries. And so we are big proponents on the fact that once that is done, the ability to enforce laws are reduced. We are working with various different organizations in the world as part of the B Corp community to uplift and to also close the gap so that there is such a thing as a fair wage, a living wage, the rights. Many of you have seen the True Cost movie. All these issues are really being amplified in areas that we really need a lot of attention. So in our own arena, Dana's circular fashion collection is currently made in the United States of America in a town called Columbus, Ohio. We have a partnership with Columbus Apparel Studio, and we work with small local garment communities from start to finish here. Our technology team is based in India, and this way we meet high standards for the quality of work and conditions. We are in regular communication with them. I myself personally will go and visit both our sourcing, if we were to source in India, which we have done every year. In fact, this year I will actually be going to India to visit our teams and to make sure that they're in safe environment and to have that kind of discussion. We simply love to support talented and small local businesses, and we are endeavoring to extend our reach to other studios and factories around the world to bring D-Sphere to bear on this level. So SDG number 12, responsible consumption and production. So as part of our commitment to 2020 circular fashion, this is the commitment we signed in 2017 at the Global Fashion Agenda. So we were among 96 signatory brands that adopted, embraced, and also produced circular fashion. And so today, circular fashion is all about, in our eyes, um, really producing, right, designing something which takes out pollution and waste and extends the garment as long as possible. That was our intent, and we've executed on that. And so all our products are made with zero waste in mind. So that's what circularity is about. So nothing goes to waste, no scrap, nothing. Our circular fashion collection that we create with Second Life materials are really encompasses materials that are either from the customer's clothing, overstock, dead stock, and even existing fabric or material. And so we build these products and we co-create with the customer so that it has a life that is valued because you've put energy and thought into it. But once you have completed and do not have the need with that particular product that you created, we request that you send it back to us, because we do believe that every single component of that can be then deconstructed and recycled, right? So we have this closed loop mechanism that we actually execute on. So everything about what we do is really about responsible consumption and production, which is really moving from the traditional linear business model, which we associate with fast fashion, to more of a slow fashion, patient capital, and also one that is more conscious and mindful, which is towards circular and regenerative fashion. And then one of the last few ones include climate action. The fact that you're co-creating with us and we're leveraging Second Life materials, which means that you're tackling global textile waste. You have a part to play in reducing your carbon footprint, the greenhouse gases, and also tackling energy and water. So for those of you who don't know, the good statistic that everyone shares is every second a dump truck full of garbage, which is your fashion waste, heads to the landfill, right? In the world today, 70% of that $3 trillion industry, fashion and apparel, ends up in the landfill or the incinerator. And we're here to tackle that, but at the same time, democratizing fashion, giving the people the ability to really put their money where their mouth is or walk the talk, right? So in terms of environmental impact, I've mentioned that we do LCAs so that it is based on science-based targets. And finally, Dana Inc. is a signatory of the Net Zero 2030 commitment, right? So you can actually find this on publicly on the Net Zero 2030 website. Finally, the last one, I believe, is SDG number 16, which is peace, justice, and strong institutions. So this SDG is really interesting. And we've actually taken it to a whole different level. SDG 16 is about promoting peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, to provide access to justice for all and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. Those of you who understand or who know about the acronym JEDI, JEDI stands for Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. Now, a lot of people talk about JEDI, which includes, LGBTQ, but we also take this to a whole different level, which is to advocate for our youth. I truly believe our youth need to be heard on so many different levels, right? They're being unrepresented in terms of their ideas, their ability, and their actions. It's starting to show that they are of influential power. Their ability to be the influencer on social media is very powerful. And let's face it, they are our global leaders for tomorrow, our ambassadors, our citizens that are going to pave the way. Excuse me. And so it is time that we advocate and speak up and give them opportunities to say their piece. After all, the reason why many of the youth activists today are clamoring for a voice is because they don't believe and they don't trust that big corporations and organizations that have existed in decades are doing the right thing. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this sort of climate disaster or the predicament we are in when it comes to social justice. And so why not bridge the gap? After all, they're very digitally wired, and we're doing our part by doing our outreach to high schools and universities to get them more involved in D-sphere, to be the actual ambassadors, right? And to be the ones who want to see change happen in the garment industry. And they are the ones who are advocating for really the eradication of child labor and exploitation of children. And so I've been a real big proponent and advocate for this. And for those of you who don't know, it's the #1 reason why I entered the fashion industry. Back when I was an investment banker, traveling to India for 6 years, having that jurisdiction as my portfolio, I saw firsthand the exploitation of children in India, and that forever changed my life. And so that's why we started Dana Inc. as a children's brand and have since transformed to take on all ages, but more importantly, to be advocates for the citizens of this world. So on that account, I guess we have one more, which is 17. And this is partnerships for the goals. We are in partnership with several different organizations like Textile Exchange, Repurpose Global, Common Objective, and B-Lab, all areas. And we actually have a whole ecosystem, about 10 to 15 partners that we work with to push and to propel change towards sustainability, to impact lives and to create arenas so that fashion can be used as a powerhouse to make change both in environmental and social justice. And so we've had long-standing relationships with some of these organizations for over a decade now. So those are the 9 SDG goals that Dana Inc. Is aligned with. It actually is showing our values, and we are part of a whole ecosystem of partners and believe that our stakeholders are relying on us to be not only transparent, accountable, but also responsive to the needs of the world. So I hope that gives you a good picture on where we stand on SDGs and how our creative platform is serving the way. We are part of the SDG Action Manager. And for those who don't know that, it's part of the assessment that we need to do, getting our certification for B Corp. So the 4th one we will do, it will be all aligned with our SDG goals as well. So I'm going to stop and let's take questions. Typically, we have about 10 to 15 minutes of questions and we end at 10:45. So Sheldon, is there any questions?
If anyone has any questions, you can go ahead and type them in the chat. We'll read them out.
Comments, questions, areas where you believe you need clarification, we're happy to take that. Another interesting point is the fashion industry actually impacts all 17 SDG goals, believe it or not. So could we increase our vision on ticking all 17? Some people have asked us that. Yes, in time, it would be something we would like to tackle all 17, but let us start with these 9, because that actually is literally part of every step we do currently. So there's poverty, there's water, right, in the future. And as we move globally and bring D-sphere globally, it's a natural progression that we will adopt more SDG goals. And finally, we will be probably looking at doing all 17 when we take on partnerships.
So we do have one question. They ask, zero fashion means all scraps included in the garment designing?
Yes, you want to start with that, Sheldon?
Sure.
You are a fashion designer and I can add to it.
So when we produce any garments, we take all of the cutting room scraps, any leftover fabrics, and we recycle them. We save them for recycling. We've also designed for zero waste. So the trims can be recycled. If a customer no longer wants their garment, they can send it back to us and we will recycle it. It can also be taken apart and reused.
Mm-hmm. And so let me add to what Sheldon has already said. When we use the word zero waste design, we go back to also our commitment, right? So remember, the circularity to us means 4 things as part of the commitment, which is, you actually designing out of waste and pollution, right? You take back clothing. You sell clothing which is made from take back or second life materials, and then you actually recycle it, which is putting feedstock of second life materials and finished garments into a machine, and then fiber comes out and you use that fiber and you blend it again and make new clothing out of it. So in terms of our scraps, we have, as Sheldon said, we use it for accessories, right? We've done that. We've also have the scraps as part of our learnings and education when we go into schools. It's used for art projects, believe it or not, to make new things. And then we use it for our walls, and finally, the scraps are then saved, whatever we can't, and used as recycle. So we have those partnerships in place, and then hopefully we'll be able to offer on our website as part of our materials reclaimed fabric that has now been produced in terms of fiber, and then it's going to be a new material. So I hope that answers it.
So we have one more question. It says, I noticed you said something about NFTs. I'm wondering, what role do NFTs play in sustainable fashion?
So when you don't have to produce something that uses carbon, energy, and water, right? You're reducing your impact. And so we're turning the digital designs that you co-create on our platform into NFTs. It tells a story, if that's what you're looking for, to use fashion as a medium of communication, right? And so just like you can now see it metaverse, gaming companies that use fashion on their avatars, this is the same way, right? So you own a piece of digital fashion that you can then use for purpose, either communicating, to be able to use perhaps in the future for gaming. It could be actually a symbol, right? And so again, when you're not converting that into a real thing, you really don't use the sort of environment impact that most fashion brands end up doing. So I hope that actually sums it up. It really is meant to be part of something you can keep in the cloud and retrieve again and use it over and over again. Yeah. You're very welcome, Tristan. Any other questions? Sustainability development goals is huge topic in the educational arena today, right? And it's something that everyone, every corporation and company now are using as part of their branding strategy, right? And being able to say, you know, for each action, how is that going to translate towards a SDG goal, right? So that people can actually understand that there's a concerted effort towards moving the company using product or service to serve the planet and humanity. So I'm just going to read some of these comments here. Let's see, Jessica, I love your mission. Thank you very much. And let's see. Anyone who is looking at being part of our ambassador program, or what we called our global change makers, please stay tuned. We will be announcing that shortly this quarter, and you know, you'll see it first on the D-Sphere story. So keep watching that, and feel free to actually share your fashion story that way. So we're gonna take maybe one or two more questions. Anyone? Why? I'm asking a question. Why does SDG mean something to you?
I know for me, I graduated in 2008 from a school here in Tennessee. I studied apparel design. And so studied apparel design, graduated, pursued it on my own as a business, and just really lost the passion and the love for it. It just seemed so short-lived. It's like I'd stay up and sew for like, you know, hours and hours on end. The model would be on the runway for maybe 3 to 4 minutes, and it'd all be over so fast. And I just felt like it lacked purpose. And so discovering sustainable fashion and the initiatives behind it and the meaning and the purpose, that has really like rebirthed the whole love of fashion for me. Because it's like, it means more like I want people to look good but do good, because it's like it's a double whammy. It's like you're feeling good, your confidence is up there, but you're also recognizing that you're doing good for people that will be here after you. And so sustainable goals and initiatives have really just rebirthed my love for fashion.
Maggie, that is so well said. I applaud you for, you know, your commitment and also your passion. I welcome you to tell your fashion story, what you just did in D-Sphere Stories. Go to our module and say what you just did. And this is the platform we're giving people and folks like yourselves to share your fashion story, and then to invite others to comment on what you just said. D-Sphere Stories is all about social media for fashion. So yes, Maggie, good on you. Cherish, what do you think, Sheldon? I bet you feel the same way.
Also as a fashion designer, I definitely relate to everything you just said. I've been through the exact same thing.
Yes, and so I certainly, I'm grateful for the experience. You know, it's definitely one of those things that I've learned as I've gotten older, that you may not know exactly where you're going or what you want to do, but knowing what you don't want to do saves you a lot of time. And so,
Yeah.
you know, me realizing that, you know, I don't, you know, want to create, high volumes of just clothes, people take it on, put it off, you know, and then leave it. Like, I want it to mean something. And
Yeah.
you guys, I just want to say kudos, hats off. I've never seen a company structured in a way from, you know, from start to finish, and also showing proof how you broke it down and had the snapshots and say, this one t-shirt will save you this, this, and this. People want to know that. People want you to give them more than just your promises and, you know, your great words. And that they want to be able to see that, hey, there's proof in what she's saying, and it's right there.
Yep. And we like for you, Maggie, to come up with your own template and let people then use Maggie's template and do the same thing, right? So the way we work with different fashion designers, fashion companies, fashion brands, is that everyone has, you know, sometimes 3 things, maybe 2, sometimes 1. And those are, if you already have a template, then you can work with us to put that one onto DSphere, right? And then every time somebody chooses your template, co-creates on that template with us, you actually get the royalty, you get the commission, right? And over and above that, in the future, it'll be your own store. So this is where it's all headed, right? Now, most fashion brands will use this technology to not only create their own unique templates, but they already have production houses and they already have customers, right? And they have overstock. So they can use this technology now to empower their own customers to co-create, right? So you and I know, and everybody on this call knows, that there is enough circulating material in the world to make new clothes. You don't even have to start with virgin anymore, right? It's just needing the willpower, the ability to take those clothes, to piece it together to make new clothes. I mean, this is a already existing business model. It's called upcycling. Everyone's doing it currently. You see about 300,000 of them on Instagram. But what we're doing is giving the power to people now to take that upcycling and make it more affordable and also more available, especially for people who don't know how to design clothes, right? So they already just use a template. So if you know Canva, this is like a Canva for fashion design. And so they just move the clothing, and then when they complete it, they order it and they get it. But here's the fun part. What we're doing is really generating one of a kind, unique, personalized clothing for each one of us. Why? Because we're each uniquely different, right? Yet we each wear clothes. And so why not have our own personas? And you want to have your own personas and be proud about it, but also be the vehicle for climate change, environmental impact, and social justice, right? So yeah, but we're empowering all you people to show yourselves really strongly. Okay, anyone have any last questions, or we're going to wrap this up? And we're really very cognizant of the fact that time is precious, and we hope that this has been valuable to you. We will have our next webinar in 2 weeks, and that is a webinar that is really exciting. It's about how you as a customer become the next fashion brand using the DSphere platform, right? And we're going to share with you where we're headed in the new frontier of fashion. So it's not just fashion brands and companies that will be able to use this technology, but we're seeing, just like resellers, you know, when we go to the big resale markets, marketplaces like the Depops and the ThreadUps and the Poshmarks, you see people who are super users and people follow them, right? Because they're reselling and they're actually very influential in terms of what's new in the vintage world or anything. Well, we're an extension of that, right? These are folks that perhaps want to create their own fashion brands, and that's where we play, right? So take those garments that you keep on selling and reselling, now turn it into new clothing, one-of-a-kind pieces, and we do that for you. And you can become the next fashion brand. So stay tuned. I believe it's on April 27th on Wednesday. Again, if you cannot make it, do sign up, tell your friends, and it will be shared with you. Okay. So on that note, thank you very much, Sheldon. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, no
For
problem.
everyone out there, be the force for good. Know that your actions, your energy, your creativity is going to make a difference in the world, the fashion world. So hope we see you on D-Sphere. So thank you very much, everybody. Take care and happy Earth Month.
Thank you.
Thank you.